Hello everyone, Vonlin here bringing another Total War Rome 2 informational video. This one's going to be all about the campaign map. The campaign map was demoed at E3, and this is what it's going to look like in-game if you zoom far enough out. The map, artistically speaking, is represented to look like a historical map rather than a modern day or realistic map. Some players love that, some players hate it. I'll let you decide for yourself. Personally, I like all the colors and I like how the style of it. Other people think it's too colorful, too cartoony. It's your own opinion. It's not going to have a huge effect on gameplay. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but people do have their opinions on it. Each of the areas that are zoned out and have a name written across them are what I believe to be one of the provinces. I believe that because I counted all of them, and there are, roughly speaking, 60 of these provinces, what are assumed to be provinces, which makes sense because there are 57 provinces in the game. So each area where you see a name written, that is one of the provinces, I believe. I believe that each of these buildings with the pillars, represented the little icons with the pillars, I believe those are all the regional capitals, showing you where all the regions are. You also see some of the provinces, some of the provinces are zoned out by different colors, breaking them up, or there's lines drawn through them. That makes more sense to speak to that those are the regions. In my other video, I said that there was 4 regions or more in each province. That's actually incorrect. I meant to say there are 2 to 4 regions in each province. So 4 regions at the most, 2 regions at the least. And that's represented pretty well on this map based off the colors and where these building icons are located. If you look at Italy, there's that province called Italia, and there's that building on the northeast coast and the one on the southwest coast. And I believe those are the 2 regional capitals there, and therefore you can assume that Italia is going to be 2 regions, and the boot of Italy is going to be another 2 different regions within that province. You also see resource icons across the map. You can see some timber, some gold, some furs. These will, at the very least, I would say these are going to affect your trade if you control those regions or provinces. They haven't talked a lot about these resource icons yet. They might affect some specific technologies. They might be requirements for some of them. They could also give buffs to or bonuses to the regions or provinces if you control those resources. Who knows exactly, but I'm sure they'll affect trade at the very least. If you look at the bodies of water in the oceans, you see some lines drawn through there. Those are the naval regions they were referring to. I think how those work is that if you station a fleet in one of those regions, an enemy fleet cannot pass through that region and land on your land without fighting your fleet first. So you can kind of set fleets to patrol coastlines based on these naval regions. I think that's really cool. That is how it works, because it really gives more power and weight to navies and naval powers, so it allows an extra play style of focusing on navy and getting more use out of your navies. Because if you're really strong with your ships, but your land army is relatively weak, and there's another nation with a strong land army but a weak navy, you can protect yourself from them by never letting them even land on your territories if you're all coastal. So I think that's really cool. Allows a playstyle for an empire like Carthage to have more weight in the game with their navies. In past Total War games, you haven't really seen that. I'd also like to talk about this map compared to the Rome 1 Total War map. Basically, the whole Middle Eastern area has been expanded. There wasn't anything past Saudi Arabia in Rome 1, much less you couldn't really go into Saudi Arabia much. There's 1 or 2 regions in there originally, so they've added a ton of regions in town in the Middle East and to the east there. If you look at the northern part of the map on Central Europe and the Russian area, that was all in Rome 1. They've actually brought it in a little bit off to the east of Britain. They've cut off the north part of where, like, I think that's Denmark that's up there in modern days, and like Sweden. That part's been cut off this map, but to the right of that, to the east of that, they have way more regions than they did in Rome 1. That was just Russian. It was like 3 or 4 big chunks of land, I believe. So they've added a ton of areas in northeastern Europe and the Middle East. They've really expanded the map out that way. There also seems to be more cities in Africa, so they've expanded a little bit south. Britain is the same as it was in Rome Total War. On the bottom right corner, you see some icons there. Those are used probably to navigate through the various game menus when you're playing the campaign. There's also 2 buttons in the top left corner, probably for some more menus as well. I can't be for sure, of course. The last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is where all the different factions are going to start. If you look at Italy, obviously that is where Rome is going to be. Carthage is going to be in the northwest part of Africa, those three provinces south of Spain and Sicily. They'll also control part of Sicily, it looks like, based off the Total War Wikipedia on factions, and they'll control part of that island directly east of Italy itself. So Carthage will be in the Mediterranean. If you look way north at Britannia, obviously that is where the Icenian tribe is going to be, which is the Briton barbarians. They're going to be in that gray region in the bottom right corner. Straight east of that in Europe, you'll see a province called Suebi. That is where the Suebian German tribe will be starting. And then, of course, in Central Europe, somewhere in there, the Arvinian tribe, which is the Gauls and the French barbarians, will be, northwest of Italy somewhere. There's Macedonia as a province you can see east of Italy. That is where Macedon will be, or Macedonia, excuse me. And then the Greek city-states will, of course, be south of that in Greece. Sparta, Athens, and Epirus. And then farther east, you have Pontus now, below the south of the Black Sea. You can see where Pontus's province is. It's named Pontus. And then further east from that, and south a little bit, is the Parthia province, which is where Parthia will spawn. And Egypt, of course, will be in the classical area where Egypt has always been, kind of in the northeastern corner of Africa with the Nile. I think I covered all the factions. I hope you guys enjoyed this informational video on the Rome 2 campaign map. You can start planning out your invasions if you want to get a little far ahead of yourself and be hardcore. If you got this far in my video, I hope you can subscribe, like, or comment. Subscribe for more informational videos on Rome 2 before it's released. After it's released, I will be doing regular Rome 2 commentary videos. In the meantime, you can also go check out some of my Rome 1 commentaries. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.